Okay, here we go. I'm back. So this topic, out of all the topics that I plan to talk about for some reasons, and the ones I already have, seems to be stressing me out the most. I think it's because it involves how I'm going to get paid in the future, most likely. That might be the reason. I'm not sure. Well, anyway, the topic is Apple Music. Not to be confused with iTunes. iTunes holds your music. Apple Music is similar to Spotify. You pay $10 a month, and you have access to everything that's in iTunes, which is pretty much every single song probably ever written. Sounds great, right? All right, so here's my issue with it. I want to go back to let's say 8 years ago, 10 years ago, maybe. So I had a full cable package, $150 a month, 300 channels, and I used to use TV to just consume and not to deal with my life. I would just for hours watch TV, watch marathons of just nonsense, and it was my way of tuning out, my way of not getting my shit done, my way of not making music. Um, and I hated it, but I didn't know how to change it. Spending all that time, and then you just flip around. It was so weird because I would flip around and then find a show that I finally liked, and then I wouldn't stay on it. No, there must be. Maybe, what if there's something better? Let me keep flipping around. I'll come back, and then just hours and hours of nonsense. So I finally got rid of that when Netflix came along, and Netflix used to send you DVDs of TV shows and movies. So I saw that as my way out. Canceled cable, started writing music, had all this time to create. I was no longer consuming the way I was, which I discussed on my previous podcast. Um, and it was great. The only problem is that if you wanted to see a movie, you kind of had to wait about 4 months. If you wanted to see that television show, you had to wait until the season ended. So you were always behind on the discussion. And also, I think everyone who was doing it was kind of keeping it secret. They didn't want to admit that that they canceled their cable for whatever reason. And then it was always weird because you just watch a show that you love, but you're like 6 months to a year behind everybody else, and you have to try to force it into conversations. And everyone's like, I think we discussed that a year ago. So it was a little weird. It was a little weird. So it wasn't perfect yet. So fast forward to now, where it's just it's pretty effing perfect. You find out your favorite shows. Your buddies tell you about your favorite shows. There's write-ups about great shows, great movies, and you buy it, and it just shows up. You get it an hour after it airs live, so you get it immediately. You pick what you want, so you spend the least amount of time consuming, so more time for you to create. It's pretty perfect, and I think everyone would agree that it's pretty perfect. And then before it was pretty disgusting because if you wanted, let's say you wanted this one extra channel, you couldn't just get that extra channel for an extra $6 a month. It came with another 10 channels, and you would say, I don't want those channels to go with that, and the company would say, well, that's the only way we offer it. So you kind of have to take it. So you didn't have a choice, and that's where the bills ended up being like $150 a month because they basically just bullied everybody. And now you can just sort of work around that, and you don't need to. You can just work around them, and you don't need to put up with that bullshit anymore. So it's pretty perfect where it is, right? So how does this tie into Apple Music? Okay, So what's weird about this is so Apple Music, it's $10 for the a month. You get every single song that iTunes has. As soon as you stop paying, you no longer have access to those songs at all, no matter what playlist you set up or whatever. So the way music is going is opposite of the way that TV is gone and movies. So we now have access to every single thing for one fee. And what freaks me out is that Apple a couple months ago leaked that they might be getting rid of their downloads if streaming goes well. And then later they took it back and said, no, we never said that. But they might be going in that direction. And then we also have two generations of people who pretty much have never really purchased music. So it looks like it's probably going that way. It's going to streaming, having access to everything. So I that drives me nuts because I know that I will end up just downloading stuff that I kind of heard about or not going with my sources. Usually I just listen to certain people I listen to. If they mention a great band, then I know that that's going to be something I like. And then I'll probably give that a shot. But I know if I had access to it all, I would just be listening to a bunch of shit that I kind of don't like and wasting my time when I could be spending that time making music instead of listening to somebody else's awful music. Because I don't care how many genres you're into, 99% of what's on iTunes is probably not good for you. It's not music that you like. And also, most of us are probably not spending. We're not buying more than 12 albums a year, are we? I don't know. I know I'm not, and that's all I can really speak to. But if you are buying more than 12 albums a year, then this is probably great for you. Except for the fact that you have to pay for the rest of your life. Otherwise, you lose everything. So I don't know where I stand on all this. Also, I kind of don't want to deal with iTunes and Apple. Previously, if you wanted to put your music on Apple, they sort of don't give you options. They don't really care about the artist, really. It's kind of like their way or the highway. They also charge the highest percentage than any other download site. There's just kind of almost like the old cable companies. There's kind of this like bully mentality. And if it really goes well, everyone's going to be on it, and where artists are not going to have the option. They're going to have to settle for whatever they're paying. And however, they're not even paying, just how they're dealing with everything. They make it so difficult. They give you no control in anything. So I think a lot of this is me being afraid that I might have to deal with them in the future. Or am I just being like a weird old man about this? That's the other thing. This is the first time in my life that usually I accept change and growth. You don't want to sort of plateau and sort of. I'm okay with moving forward, but this is the only time in my life that something like this, knowing that everything's going to be streaming eventually, is kind of bothering me a bit. Or maybe it won't. Maybe other sites will pick up on the download end. Maybe that'll become more of a thing, and not everyone will be streaming. I don't know, but these are some of my and it just freaks me out how the cable thing is very obvious. Why I don't want access to 300 channels. I know that I only like 2 to 4 shows, pretty much. I'm just gonna get those, and then that's it. And then everybody else will filter for me. Everybody else will come and tell me, hey, you should check out this show, check out that show, instead of me numbing myself out watching, a bunch of shows that are very average. And the same, when I talk about shows, I'm also talking about music, so it's the same thing. So it's really weird that the outline is sort of the old way of doing things. Or maybe I'm old. I don't know. So I guess this is how I'm going to end this. I don't know. I guess there'll be like a part 2 of this or something like that. I think my voice just cracked. Um, yeah, I don't know, man. Is this something that stresses you guys out or not? Or, yeah. So I think that's it. This has been the Sunday night YouTube podcast with Giuseppe Sanasas. All right, guys. So give me your thoughts. Subscribe. Thumbs up. I'll talk to you guys in a week. Bye.